Hey guys, Katrina here. Today's video is all about how to have a successful homeschool day. And I'm teaming up with a bunch of other YouTube moms, homeschool YouTube moms, who are talking about the same thing. Jess from the Waldock Way and Abby from Rooted in Rest started this a couple months ago, and each month there are more and more homeschool moms, sharing their tips and their tricks and just how they homeschool. So I thought I'd join in and let you guys know some of my tips on having a successful homeschool day. So if you see me looking down, I've got my notes here, so that will be why. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about, my first tip, is going to be that you need to define what success is going to look like in your homeschool. So if you're an unschooler, your successful homeschool day is going to look a lot different than someone who is more of a school at home type homeschooler. So that's my biggest thing. Our homeschool day, some days are going to be very laid back, and some days are going to be less laid back. Some days our schooling is going to look more like we are outside doing lots of nature study. Some days we're going to be doing, a lot of book reading. Some days we're going to be doing more actual book work. You need to take care of yourself first, whether that's getting yourself ready the night before or getting yourself up early in the morning and making sure that you are, that you've done your devotions and that you've filled your cup first, whether that's working out or reading or whatever it is. Take care of yourself so that your cup is full and you are able to pour into your kids. I know for me that if I am waking up and my kids are already up and arguing and all of that, then we are not going to have a good homeschool day, because it's just not going to work. I'm going to be frustrated, they're going to be frustrated, it just doesn't work. So if I know that if I get up in the morning and I get up before my kids and I have my quiet time and I work out, whatever that may be, whether it's yoga that day or a HIIT workout or whatever, then and I take care of myself first, I know that we are going to have a much better day and a much better homeschool day. So my third tip for a successful homeschool day is to let go of expectations. You need to let go of what you expect your homeschool day to look like. It's not going to look like someone else's. It's not going to be, this amazing. Some days will be amazing. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Like, it's not going, you're not going to always get every single thing done, and you're not going to always have constant happy children, and you're not always going to be constantly happy as well. It's not always going to be this perfect thing. So you need to let go of those expectations of what you think your homeschool day is gonna look like. So a minimum of what we should accomplish in a day. Some days we don't even do that. My fourth tip is to include breaks. I have 2 young boys that I am homeschooling. They are 6 and 8, and they need a lot of breaks. They need to run, they need to jump, they need to move, they need to yell, they need to scream. They need to do all of it. And sometimes it's right in the middle of a lesson. So We have a trampoline in the backyard. We have a big backyard, so that they can go and run. They can get it out of their system. This is a really huge thing. Okay, you have to let them take breaks and get their wiggles out. So sometimes we do a dance party. My 11-year-old still likes to join in on those, thankfully. Whether it's a break for a snack, or it's a break to go outside for a few minutes, or it's a break to FaceTime grandma, or whatever it is, you have to make sure to take breaks, because nobody can sit there and constantly work and have a good attitude. My 5th tip for how to have a successful homeschool day is to have a routine and not a schedule. Okay, now not everybody is going to be able to work this way. Some people have to work by a schedule, and that's fine. But our homeschool day moves much better when we just have a routine. We have a flow. So my kids know, that we do morning basket first. We go, and we do our character studies, and we do our Bible verse, and we go through the calendar stuff for my youngest, and we do all of that stuff, and then we move on to our independent subjects. And they know who I work with when and stuff like that. So, but it's not all done by a specific time. We have a time that we usually start school around, but some days that does not happen at all. If you follow me on Instagram at all, you have seen just this week that there are days that we don't even start school until 11 o'clock in the morning. Every day can be different, so we just have a flow that we do in a routine instead of a very strict schedule, because we cannot function by that. There's just too many variables that would make me crazy if I had to do it by exact times. The reason we are not completely just fly by the seat of your pants, spontaneous, and do school whenever is because one of my children very much needs to know what we are doing when we are doing it, when it pertains to school and starting school. And honestly, all of my kids have a hard time, breaking from, if they're playing or whatever. I don't always make them quit playing to start school. But sometimes they do, and they don't really like that. So if they have a specific time that they know that we are supposed to be starting school, then it's usually, much better, because I can forewarn them and stuff like that, like, hey, we're starting school. But if I don't, then they can't handle it. So we usually have a starting time, and even sometimes I'll say, okay, we need to start school by this time today, if it needs to change because we have other commitments or whatever. So just, you figure out what works for you and your kids, but make it so that it's something that isn't stressful. Okay. So bonus tip is to put your phone on silent. Okay, so I have an iPhone, so I make sure that I turn on the I don't know what it's called, night mode, quiet time mode, silent mode, I don't know what it is, where if somebody calls and they're not on your favorites list, it just, it doesn't show you, or it doesn't text you or whatever. You don't get all those dings and stuff. And then if they call you twice, or if they're on your favorites list, then it'll come through. So I have my phone set like that during our school hours, so that I'm not getting, all the phone calls and all the text messages and stuff. And I actually don't have any alerts on my phone outside of those things. I don't have notifications from from email, from social media, anything. I don't get notifications from anything because it drives me crazy and I don't want to hear it dinging all day. So I just don't. but during school hours I will turn it to the whatever it's called, silent mode, and you know, people know that if it's an emergency to call twice or whatever. You know, my husband is set to always ring because I know that he's not going to call me during school unless it's an emergency or it's something really important that he needs to talk to me about right then. So those are my 6 tips on how to have a successful homeschool day. Make sure to check out everybody else that's included in this playlist and in this collaboration. I know that you're going to get tons of great tips and information from all these homeschool mamas, and I know you're just gonna, if you have any tips or questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments and let's continue the conversation down there. All right, see you guys later.